It started in a small desert town in New Mexico. Truth or consequences, of all names, a place to dry and sunburn to hide much. But behind the beige trailers, there was one that hummed faintly at night, like something mechanical breathing. Locals called its owner quiet, polite, maybe a little strange. His name was David Parker Ray. What no one saw was what he called the toy box. It looked like any old semi-trailer from the outside, parked behind his home, sun-faded, metal peeling. Inside, it was hell on purpose. Walls lined with handcuffs, pulleys, surgical tools, clamps, whips, saws. A gynecologist's chair bolted to the floor, mirrors on the ceiling. Every piece labeled neatly, organized like a museum of cruelty. On one wall, he'd hung a sign that read, Satan's Den. Ray wasn't sloppy or impulsive. He was deliberate, methodical, a man who built his nightmares piece by piece. He recorded everything. Before each abduction, he'd play a cassette tape for his victims. On it, his voice flat, cold, bureaucratic, explained what was about to happen to them. The recording always began the same way, "Hello there, bitch. You're probably wondering where you are." Then he described in clinical detail the torture that would follow. The tape lasted nearly an hour. He'd made it to prepare them for his routine. He liked control more than pain. The women he took were often drifters, sex workers, women no one would look for right away. He'd drug them, restrain them, and keep them in the trailer for days, sometimes weeks. He didn't just use physical torture, he used fear like a scalpel. He'd show them his collection of photographs, hundreds of victims before them, bound and broken. He'd play his recordings over and over until they stopped screaming and started begging. His girlfriend, Cindy Hendy, was his accomplice. She lured women in, helped with restraints, cleaned up. The two of them worked in rhythm. Hendy later said Ray believed he was serving something dark, something that lived inside him. But others said it wasn't about belief, it was about power. The kind that turns human beings into objects, the kind that only ends when someone fights back. And someone finally did. In March 1999, a woman named Cynthia Vigil managed to escape. She'd been held in the trailer for 3 days, beaten, raped, electrocuted. But when Ray left her unattended, she saw her chance. She attacked Hendy with an ice pick, slipped out of her chains, and ran naked, blooded, wearing only a metal collar and chain, through the dusty streets of Elephant Butte, screaming for help. A man saw her and called 911. When police arrived, they followed her directions back to the trailer. What they found was worse than they'd imagined. Instruments of torture cataloged and numbered. A video camera. Drawings, diaries detailing abductions going back decades. In one entry, Ray claims to have murdered more than 40 women, though none of their bodies were ever found. He'd been working as a mechanic for the state, driving trucks across rural areas, and many of his victims had vanished along those routes. The FBI called the toy box the most elaborate torture chamber in American history. They even drained nearby lakes, dug through desert graves, but never confirmed a single body. It was as if his victims had been erased by the desert itself. Some believed he buried them deep in Elephant Butte Lake, weighed down by chains. Others thought he learned to make them disappear entirely because he'd had practice. Cindy Hendy turned on him quickly, testifying in exchange for a reduced sentence. Her testimony, the diary entries, and Cynthia Vigil's escape were enough to convict him. But before his full sentencing could take place, in 2002, David Parker Ray died of a heart attack in his cell. He never confessed, never gave closure, just silence. Investigators still wonder how many there really were. The toy box contained photos of dozens of women who have never been identified. The audio tapes hinted at accomplices, people he called friends from the lake. Some believed there were others like him, ordinary men with their own trailers hidden in plain sight. After the trial, the trailer was torn apart, every wall and tool smashed to bits by the FBI. It's wild to think about, right? But those recordings, They're still locked away in evidence lockers, though a few have slipped through the cracks over the years. The voice on those tapes, it doesn't even sound human. It's so calm and detached, almost like it's reading from a manual, talking about what's going to happen with this eerie patience. You can't help but feel a chill run down your spine when you listen to it. It's like you're hearing something that shouldn't exist, you know? The desert has forgotten most of it now. Sand swallowed the lot where the toy box stood. But every few years, hikers near Elephant Butte Lake claim to find something strange: bones, bits of metal, a rusted chain. They say when the wind blows across the dunes, it sounds like faint, hollow breathing.